being here today. This is such an incredible turnout. Thank you so much. Yes, start with the applause. It really means so much to us, as you'll see throughout the day, that you get to hear these wonderful stories. So thank you. So I, along with Nikiko Masumoto here to my left, co-direct Yonsei Memory Project, and I'm going to read this beautiful description of Yonsei Memory Project that I believe Nikiko wrote. So yes, we collaborate. To give you a bit of a grounding into our project, our organization. So we actually, I think part of the spark for us coming together was here at Fresno State when the library had the exhibit on the Executive Order 9066 2 years ago. And there was an event for that. Barbara Windmiller, who helped us today, thank you Barbara, was a big part of that. So it's great to be back sort of at Fresno State. Yeah. So we came together through a shared impulse to give our energies to awakening the archives of local Japanese American community history. As Yonsei, fourth generation Japanese Americans, we have an important role to embrace as both cultural receivers and cultural leaders. Through Yonsei Memory Project, we create transformative experiences that unlock the power of ancestral stories and our individual voices. So awakening the archives of history has been part of our ongoing project this last couple of years. And I want to thank so many people that have helped us along the way. The California State Library has a Civil Liberties Grant, the Civil Liberties Public Education Program grant, that has been funding our work the last couple of years. So huge thanks to them. Fresno Arts Council is our fiscal sponsor, so big shout out to Lilia Chavez, Fresno Arts Council, we love them. Jerry Palladino, who is here today, there he is, Jerry, and Curtain 5 Theater Group have been long-term supporters of our work from the very beginning, so we're so thankful to Jerry. The Fresno Soap Co. as well, the theater, we want to thank them. As well as our volunteers today, we have Joseph Casara and Anita Blackburn, my co-faculty over here, wonderful writer. As well as my parents, Great Janelle Saito, who are floating around as well. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Of course, the Henry Madden Library, Fresno State, English Department, the MFA program, who've just been supporting this work also really from the start, so we're so grateful to them. And shout out to Rudy Adelarier, who's filming for us today. Thank you, Rudy, and Jefferson Beavers, who helped to set up, coordinate the space for us as well today. If you're interested in learning more about our upcoming events, we have an email list over here with Joe and Vanita. You can sign up right through a laptop, actually, and get your name on our email list. And we also have, coming up in a week, like next Sunday, it's happening very soon, we have what's called a memory bus ride, which is our big annual event. My mom is holding up a poster here, my mom, in honor of Day of Remembrance, which of course marks the signing of the Executive Order 9066, which authorized the incarceration of 120,000 Japanese Americans from the West Coast. We'll hear two survivor stories today from folks who were interned and incarcerated. So our families were also incarcerated as well. We'll talk a little bit more about that journey. So if you're interested in joining the Memory Bus Ride, it's free. We only have maybe 5 seats left, I think, a few seats left. We will do a tour of important historical sites of memory here in the Valley for Japanese Americans. So we'll start at the Fresno Fairgrounds, which was an assembly center where 5,000 Japanese Americans were incarcerated before they were sent to the camps. So we'll start there, we'll tour Chinatown, Old Japantown, we'll go to Simonian Farms, and we'll arrive back at the Fresno Fairgrounds. So that's next Sunday morning. So if you'd like to join us, please make a mad dash for the sign-up sheet before you leave today. And I think that's it for logistics. Pass it over to Nikiko.
Storytelling for Change. We chose that title for our programming very intentionally. As Yonsei, fourth generation Japanese Americans, Brynn and our grandparents were incarcerated during World War II. And so we know in the depth of our bones the importance of telling stories, especially especially across generations, especially across communities. And we know that telling stories that are hard to tell are sometimes the ones that need to be told the most. So from that ancestral point of departure, with our deep-seated dedication to wanting the stories in our community to go on for generations to come, after our first year of programming, we realized that we wanted to create a space, a sacred space, if I could call it that, like today, for anyone in the Valley to develop a personal narrative that they felt was important to share. So, last August, 14 strangers submitted applications online to Storytelling for Change. And when we read those applications, we both wept, we laughed, and we knew that this was going to be a really special experience. So on a really bright, beautiful day last September, this group of 14 storytellers, all who were strangers except for 2 who are married, all to each other. Thanks, Mom. Imagine a group of, imagine yourself driving to a place you've never been before, Simonian Farms, to meet a group you don't know anyone else in the group. This is the journey that our storytellers started with. And from the very first moment, Will was there early, I remember. Paul was there with his backpack on. And from our very first circle where we just introduced our names, Shameen opened the circle with bravery and honesty, sharing how much she desired a space like this, a brave space, a safe space for us to gather, think about memory, think about history, think about those burning stories that we all carry, and then be received and be able to be in community with people to hold the space. That was the beginning of our journey. And through the next couple months, this amazing group of 14 storytellers sitting in front of me went through 21 hours of intensive storytelling workshop. I mean, really intense. We asked our storytellers to bring their best. And along Brynn, myself, and another faculty member from the University of San Francisco, Brian Conway-Dempster, we provided a space to share the best tools we knew about how to craft a powerful story. So after 21 hours of intensive workshop, lots of homework, and rehearsal, last October, we were just 48 hours before opening our show. And then Brynn and I received a call. We received a call that led us to go to our original performance venue, where Brynn and I found ourselves standing in the middle of broken glass. Vandalism, graffiti, horrible things written across the walls, plants that were beautifully set up in the space torn apart, ripped, and furniture toppled. The original place where we were going to perform had been vandalized just 48 hours before these brave stories were to take flight. Brynn and I were shocked, along with Jerry and some of our other collaborators, and we asked, what do we do? We had to cancel the show because there was the facility was not safe to be in physically. Electrical systems had been damaged. And so we asked our storytellers, we turned to our storytellers in the living room of Brynn's apartment, and we asked, what do you want to do? And in that circle, what became clear was the absolute necessity that these stories see light, that these stories be set free. So we decided that despite having to scrap our original budget and all of our original plans, we would make a space and make a way to have these stories shared. So that is the journey that we have been through just to get to today. So we are so blessed, so grateful for your presence. And we want to ask you today in the audience that you listen in a different way, that you listen thinking of the context of what it means to tell a powerful story, and of you all as important actors today in helping us hold the space. we couldn't tell these stories without an audience. So that means that you are as important as all the storytellers sitting up here. So with that in mind, Brynn is going to welcome us and kick off with our first storyteller.
Sort of in line with the importance of your bearing witness and participation, we have a little activities for the end, and it involves the postcard that was on the chair today. So just hold on to that postcard throughout the afternoon. We'll work with it a little bit later. A couple of logistics. Storytellers are just going to come up one by one and tell their story, no introduction in between. So you can read their bios in the programs that we handed out. There is one typo in the program, and this is totally on me. It's not like I'm an English professor or anything.